Hi, welcome to Myers ASMR. It's so good to see you. I'm always glad to see you. Hey, are you more of a vibrational match to the problem or to the solution? Are you more of a vibrational match to the problem or to the solution? I whipped up a very quick veggie stir fry. Just a touch. You know how you want to eat something, but you're not hungry enough for a full meal? Yeah, so you just want a little bit. Here we go. Yeah. Soy sauce is so good. The chicken I cooked separately in the oven. Really nice. I had so many veggies left over from last week's stir fry that I chose to make the same meal again. And I love it. This chicken is so tender. I think the key is to cover the chicken when you're cooking it. It keeps the moisture and the juices in so it doesn't get dried out and hard. So it's a bunch of things here. Cabbage, broccoli, celery, onion, chopped garlic, bell pepper, put my broccoli in close to last. I wanted it to retain some color and crunch. Yeah, that was just enough. That hit the spot. Yeah, so it had soy sauce, sesame oil, and a little dash of red pepper. Excellent. That's an herbaceous tea made with soursop leaves, hibiscus petals, chamomile flowers, and a peppermint tea bag. And no sweetener is not necessary. I've been sipping on this all day. I made a big pot of it. That's about the last cup of it. Wow. Now is that time in the video when we focus on getting better and better every day in every way with the help of this people skills book. Let's pick up where we left off. So we're on the chapter. It's about listening skills, and it's called 4 Skills of Reflective Listening. Reflecting feelings. Reflecting feelings. The reflection of feelings involves mirroring back to the speaker in succinct statements the emotions which she is communicating. Fred, 34, told a friend, "Fred, I was so sure I'd be married by now. One relationship after another fails." Rick, "It's really discouraging." Fred, "Sure is. Will I ever find the right person?" Rick realized that Fred could be experiencing a number of feelings: loneliness, anger, frustration, fear, discouragement, or a combination of these. As Fred talked, Rick read the body language and decided that discouragement was the principal emotion. The subsequent conversation confirmed Rick's guess about what his friend was feeling. Listeners frequently miss many of the emotional dimensions of a conversation. There is a tendency to rivet attention on content. If any reflecting is done, the focus is more on facts than on feelings. Or the listeners ask questions which elicit fact-type answers. What did you do? When did that happen? I was deeply involved in a writing project when the telephone rang. It was a colleague calling from Chicago. I was delighted to hear from him, but slow to leave my own frame of reference. Soon he was saying, "I just got word that the January workshop I was going to lead was canceled." Canceled, eh? I responded. Yeah, he said, before we drifted off to some other topic. After we hung up, I realized what a lazy listener I had been. I missed the whole point of what he was saying because I didn't know how he felt about the workshop's cancellation. I gave him no encouragement to talk about his feelings, thereby directing the conversation into a discussion of content. Later, I began to put together what I knew about the January workshop. He had been hired to lead a workshop on a cruise ship in the Caribbean. Most of the time each day would be free for sun and play. How disappointed he must have been to learn the workshop was canceled. I also remembered my friend had been very upset that he overscheduled himself that winter. He hadn't left enough time for rest, solitude, and friends. This large chunk of open time would enable him to get caught up with his work and enjoy a free period for solitude and friends. Very probably my friend experienced both of those feelings at the same time. Sad that he couldn't go on the cruise. Glad he had time to get his life squared away. I never found out. I never gave him the encouragement to tell me how he felt about that situation. Though I didn't say it in so many words and certainly didn't intend it my way of listening, encouraged him to relate facts and not feelings. It was as though I had said to him, stick to the facts. All I want is the facts. When listening does not encourage disclosures of feeling, we tend to miss the speaker's personal reaction to the events she is describing. Hurt, joy, sorrow, frustration, anger, grief, ambivalence, and so on. Since, as William James puts it, individuality is found in feeling, we miss the uniqueness of the other person when we have a low level of awareness of the other person's emotions. If a speaker is talking about a problem, the reflection of feelings helps her understand her own emotions and thereby move toward a solution of the problem. Data is all around us. Feelings are the energizing force that helps us sort out data, organize it, and use it effectively as we shape and implement relevant action steps. Improving the capacity to hear feelings. Though it is uncommon to reflect feelings in a conversation, each of us has in the course of our maturation learned to read the emotions of others. No doubt we can improve that skill. Still, it is important to realize that we are more accomplished at it than most of us realize. There have probably been times in your life when you were talking to individuals or groups and quickly realized that the listeners were bored. Interesting, isn't it? That you could identify their feelings when they never said they were bored or tuned out. You often know when a person is angry with you even when she doesn't say anything about it. Remember those times when people didn't mention it but wanted something from you and you figured out what they were really after. Then too, there are those times that like you a lot, but that people that like you a lot may never say it in words, yet you know. Sometimes a person may have been saying one thing to you, but you were aware that she was thinking and feeling something very different. Psychiatrists and psychologists with their years of training and intuition are often able to understand or guess the gut reactions of people. What is remarkable, however, is that people with little formal education and no training in modern communication skills are able to decode much of what other people are feeling. How did this come about? How did you develop this incredibly complex ability? Professor Norman Kagan, who teaches communication skills at Michigan State University, says there may be some inborn sensitivity that derives from heredity, but beyond that, you've probably had a lifetime of looking at other people and many reasons to have taught yourself well to recognize their moods. As a child, you had to learn to recognize your parents' mood. You learned to recognize when you could ask for something and when you could not. You learn to sense your parents' mood and to predict what they might do next. You learned to recognize when food was on its way or was not on its way to you. Throughout your entire life, you have learned to pay attention to other people's affect and emotions. The first time you got punched by the class bully because you didn't recognize the cues of another human being about to lose his temper, you certainly had good reason to learn next time to recognize the symptoms of anger. At school and on dates, you had to attend to some of the subtle messages you received or you suffered. The human mind is a fantastically complex nerve center. It would take volumes to write all of what each of you already knows about identifying the vibes or feelings of other people. While it is true that each of us has enough emotional sensitivity to immediately begin to reflect feelings with some sense of accuracy, that is not the whole story. Judging from the thousands of participants in our communication skills training programs, the typical listener is apt to focus more on content than on feelings and frequently has some difficulty figuring out what the speaker is feeling, even when the emotions are quite obvious to the trained observer. Sigmund Freud explained how some of our emotional insensitivity developed. Freud noted that if everyone acted on impulse and expressed feelings spontaneously, society would be disrupted. To prevent this disturbance, every society to a greater or lesser degree conspires against the expression of emotion. Our own highly organized society has especially strong sanctions against too free an expression of feelings. Major institutions like the homeschool, business, and church or synagogue all tend to squelch the expression of emotion. The result of this pervasive conditioning is that many people find it relatively difficult to tune into and reflect the feelings of others. Yet the reflection of feeling lies at the heart of effective listening. As I see it, each of us has a partially developed capacity to understand the feelings of others. In this important and difficult skill, no one starts from scratch. At the same time, living in an emotion-squelching society has blocked some of our sensitivity and made it more likely that people will feel awkward reflecting feelings in a conversation. As they try to reflect feelings, most participants in our courses want to know how they can become more aware of the speaker's feelings. We teach them to concentrate on 4 things. 1, focus on the feeling words. 2, note the general content of the message. 3, observe the body language. And 4, ask yourself, if I were having that experience, what would I be feeling? And that's a good place to pause and pick up the next time. The next section is called Listening for Feeling Words. Ooh, I can't wait. So excited. So excited. Let me see. To put this book back where it belongs. Let me see. What is the quote? Are you more of a vibrational match to the problem or the solution? Ask yourself, are you more of a vibrational match to the problem or the solution? Hey, if you like what I'm doing here, like and subscribe, donate to the cause. Catch me in the next video, and may you find lasting happiness. Bye.